Good morning. This is Morning at NTV. The last time the president of our country said bye, Uganda built Uganda. Boo-boo, as we've come to know it. Many of you said, oh, but the standards. Oh, but what are we really buying? What are we wearing? And him being the first model of the clothes from Uganda, we said not so much. But have we really questioned and, expanded what our fashion industry is like? Do we even have one existing, or we have a copycat of something from the international world? We need to break that down. First of all, glad to have a guest in for the first time in Uganda. Kweku Bediako from Ghana, who your fashion brand is Chocolate?
Yes, Chocolate by Kweku Bediako.
Chocolate by Kweku. And they also have our very own Ugandan, Monica Kansime. But the Kweku, she used to be a beauty queen. It was actually Miss Uganda.
I can see that.
You can see.
I can feel that.
You can feel the vibe. From a Miss Uganda, and now she has Ipigogo fashion brand. She's actually dressed me very, very lovely clothes, I tell you. So, first time in Uganda, you haven't really seen much of the country, have you?
Not really. I mean, it's just, but I mean, I don't think I have to really travel that far to see a lot. I mean, the welcoming scenery alone was amazing. I mean, from seeing is it the Lake Victoria, right?
Yes.
To the mountain scenery. I mean, it was just simply amazing.
Yeah. We were talking off air that Ghana and Uganda, kind of feel
the vibe is
the same. So I hope you feel
all like to
at
have
home.
Fun.
Yes.
Beautiful ladies.
Okay, we will not go there. So your brand is Chocolate by Kweku,
Sure.
and you don't like us women because you don't dress us.
No, I just talked about beautiful women, guys.
But you still don't make outfits for us.
No. So funny enough, so we did start off as a female brand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Chocolate.
Yeah.
Exactly. But coming from a business background, a science background, and a marketing communication background, you just want to be very tactical with how you go about your business journey, right?
Yeah.
So I think we literally, when we started with women, coupled with some little issues, nothing to fix and nothing that we couldn't fix, but we felt that, hey, there's a big gap in the men's sector. Why don't we get in there, bridge that gap, fix it?
Yes, and because I think Monica will attest to this, we dress more women than men in this country. We pay more attention to women.
That's what they used to say.
There in Ghana,
that's what they used to say,
and now the men are more fashionable.
That's what they used to say across the world.
And what's missing? Is it that we don't tailor good stuff for men?
Not necessarily. I think it just comes to the mindset. I think we were talking about mindset earlier. Men generally are more business focused.
Absolutely.
So they will rather look at a business quest rather than a fashion quest. Women are more fashion savvy.
Yes.
So that I totally agree with. But with regards to when clothes actually go a long way in loosening a conversation for business, going a long way to actually leveraging in terms of business deals, in terms of being what's the word, offering baits for business. It's very, very key in the men's.
How you look.
How you look.
Yes.
I mean, you're dressed by how you are dressed by how you're dressed. And it happens a lot I mean, you could be sitting in a plane, okay, and just because of your looks, you can actually even be given business
an
service.
upgraded bit.
I'm telling you, it's happened to me at least 3 times.
So Monica will attest to this. We have a problem where if a man is dressed too smooth here, sometimes
That's
not where I was going, by the way. But sometimes we think, let me safeguard my money, otherwise this is a thief. Because sometimes the most smooth dressed men and don't necessarily have an office or some form of business. But Monica, why aren't we dressing more men in Uganda?
Well, men, that's a very, very interesting question. We are dressing men, but they're just adapting. Slowly by slowly. Someone will be like, I have that shirt. It will take me some good months. Even if it's a wedding, it'll be like, no, the other shirt. It looked good on me. It will work again. But for the ladies, because their attention is more into the ladies, they'll be like, no, I need a new dress for this party. I need a new dress for this wedding. But the gentleman will have a black suit and survive with that for like a year or two.
And change the tie.
And just change the tie and shirt.
No, but indeed, that's how, I talked about how men generally are.
Yeah.
I think that then initially, or for the premise or for the first part of the conversation, makes a lot of sense. But again, that's where Ghana was a couple of years ago. That was where a lot of different men, prior to we talking contemporary African clothes, you know, the African man redefined, you know,
Yes.
redefining the African man for me was the main, was the message. And once you sell it with, you know, in that regard, and then also have very good eyeballs on you as a man, you like it, you know, it goes a long way in massaging your egos.
Let's talk
You know.
about fashion itself, the fashion industry. For example, Ghana, West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, when we look at someone dressed, we can actually say, okay, that's Ghanaian or that's Nigerian.
Okay.
True to it, I might not be able to tell the difference actually. Sometimes, is it the headgear and the kitenge? Is it kente?
Kente, yeah.
Kente. But you're not too far from each other as far as your traditional.
No,
outfits.
okay, so you know, for me, it's quite a sensitive conversation because I'm Ghanaian, but I was born and bred in Nigeria.
Oh.
You know, in Port Harcourt. So I have a very good mix, very nice mix of.
So when
different
we
vibes.
say fashion industry, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the kente designs? Are we talking about something authentic to Nigeria or Ghana or to even Uganda? Or we're talking the fact that there are clothes on the market generally?
No, the fashion industry, it's way broader than that. I think, you know, I mean, there's too many elements of it. Bespoke, ready to wear, tech in all this conversation, you know, traditional versus contemporary. It's too.
But is there
it's a wide-
something authentic to Africans?
Definitely. Okay, maybe.
So
I'll
must
leave
we
her to
all
answer
wear,
this.
must we all wear kente and kitenge and say
Not
that's
necessarily.
Africa?
But that's what unites us as black
Exactly.
people. Because we're known for prints and black, we're named as colored, you know.
Yes.
So we identify with, you know, with the versatile colors that come with the, you
Prints.
know, the prints. You know, we're black, we're African, we're proud, you know, and we like what we put on because, you know, it draws more attention.
So if it's
Yeah,
a prince,
you know,
that means it's one.
No. So the conversation is not about prints.
Okay.
That is not the conversation.
No,
because you see,
what puts
it's a
us
complex.
together
Exactly, it's a complex
as
conversation.
black
Okay.
people, yeah.
So if you ask me, it's so very funny we are deemed as a dark continent, but yet still we are the most colorful.
Absolutely.
So, and that's how we've always been, from our culture, from totems which are used to even our idiomatic expressions, even our the linguistic aspect of our language.
Come to life.
It's just full of energy and it has so much variety, and that's
true.
what being African is. Check most of our flags, so many colors.
Yes.
You know, from the red, gold, greens to the red, black, yellow, or gold with
Yes.
Uganda. Like it's just full of color. And for me, we need to delve further into our culture. We need to all understand. Let's say, for example, in Uganda, what makes a Ugandan different from Kenyan? Very simple. Where we are from. So, a lot of people confuse Ghana with Nigeria. But you see, when you come to Ghana and come to Nigeria, you can tell the difference. So just like now, I'm gradually telling the difference between Kenyans and
Ugandans, yes.
So it's the same way. It's with the language, maybe with the names, maybe with the topography and the different parts of the country. It's with even different crops of the food, like different food. I think in Kenya there's ugali, right?
Yes, which
But
we have in
here-
a different form.
Thank you
But
very much.
I
And
hear
it
you.
tastes differently.
Yeah, but
You know,
let's
so
let's
all
leave
of these
that.
all
Yeah.
of these for me goes a long way. Like we need to be able to take our time, reflect on our culture, and then that's why we are creative.
Are you saying
We're
that
able to
helps
deduce-
define
that goes a
eventually
long
what
way.
Yeah.
our
And
fashion
it goes a
will
long
be?
way. I learned in Zimbabwe, for example, that scarf in Ghana.
Yes.
There's a popular tribe in Ghana called Ashanti, right? And they call scarves duku,
Okay.
D-U-K-U. You know, similar to.
Just an ordinary scarf
Boo-boo.
that I can. Okay.
You know,
Leave
scarf.
Boo Boo alone.
hair
Or the
scarf.
one you put on your head.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
called duku, same as I think the Shona tribe.
Yeah.
So you see, there's a lot of
Similarities.
there's a lot of similarity.
Yes.
So and we need to delve deep into it. Have creative sit on this, deliberate on this, and you'll be surprised what sort of culture or what sort of looks you'll be churning out from maybe in the 18th centuries.
But let me ask Monica, when we say authentic Ugandan, as he has said, we look to our culture, we define ourselves as Ugandans, forget being Africans, as Ugandans, and then eventually we'll come down to what designs or what styles are Ugandan. But then there's also the aspect of materials, you know, the fabric you have. You were telling me that we actually don't have...
I'm so sorry, Uganda, but we don't have materials manufactured here. Our very own kikoi, you know, is manufactured in Holland, and what makes it so Ugandan is the Ugandan flag and
black, yellow, red.
Black, yellow, red.
Oh,
that
God.
is printed on it, you know.
Sorry, I love your flag.
You know,
though,
yeah, and just like the Kenyans have, if someone speaks of Kenya, they'll look at the Maasai because it's
Yes,
what
those are the
stands
colours,
out.
yes,
Yeah, it's
yes.
what stands out, and. What's so frustrating is the kikoi is woven, and I don't understand why it's not woven here, but instead...
So it's not that we're not capable of doing this or having our own fabric. What's stopping us? We don't have the money.
Industrialization.
Our government doesn't see any economic
it all comes
effects
back.
from fashion.
Well, that's very sensitive, but
Is the fashion industry here structured? Are you structured enough that you can call upon some sort of policies to help and guide you?
Maybe if we're going to start on that, because this is a wake-up call,
Yes.
you look at the industry, yes, so many upcoming designers, but then where is the fabric that identifies us as Ugandans? You know, we're looking at the European fabrics, and then yes, we're getting creative with it. We're making different styles.
Inspired.
You know, we have our inspirations as, you know, designers. You think of something and you're like, oh, I'm going to use this fabric, but what makes us different is we do not have our own. We have to wait for the European market to produce the fabric, gets imported here, buy the fabric, then design the clothes.
And we say you're buying Ugandan.
Yes, you're buying a Gucci fabric, and you're making your own clothes out of it.
And voila, it's Uganda.
And voila, it's Ugandan.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to comment on this. You know, this is a very sensitive matter.
Very true.
And you know, I know who am I to come and, you know, speak of, let's say, Uganda.
Are you structured better in Ghana? Is the fashion industry structured better?
It's getting there. It's still not as hyped out or as structured as we will want it to be. But it's a growing process. You know, I was telling you earlier that, you know, I feel that, you know, we've come from far and we are still getting there. You know, but the talk of buy Uganda, build Uganda, personally, I think is a very beautiful initiative.
Yes.
You need to start from somewhere.
What do you think we should start with? Because obviously you've done something.
Let me give you an example, for example. Let me give you a quick example. Now, even those items made in Italy sometimes are produced in China.
Absolutely.
Or most times, be honest.
So
China's
sometimes raw materials is always where maybe the conversation starts from. And it's a good start point. Take a look at most of the buildings you see around.
The raw materials aren't
made in the country that you know.
So maybe there's a start process. Once you start doing buy Uganda, build Uganda. For me, it's even Baba. For me, Baba. You know, buy Africa, build Africa.
Yes.
I know, right?
And so what we can all do, and that's actually one of the initiatives.
Is it difficult to have a build Uganda, buy Uganda conversation or build Ghana without saying build Africa? Should we be having the conversation on a continental level?
I think it should be continental.
Yes, I think it should be continental. You see, with us fighting with this quest, we can't do it. There's power in numbers.
Yes.
You know, so as we go, one key thing we've started doing is building a lot of allies. I'm so happy to meet you. You know, because personally, I feel like we can't do it by ourselves. And I can't come and impose a West African culture, let's say necessarily on a Ugandan or an East African culture.
Yes.
It takes me to visit East Africa, explore East Africa, learn more about East Africa, form more relationships with, you know, people like her, you know, her beautiful self. And then we'll be able to churn out concepts that move Uganda forward, but from, let's say, contemporary perspective, because then you are then bringing ideas from Ghana, bringing ideas from South Africa, etc.
I actually do go to Ghana most of the time to get fabric.
Nice. How come you not look for
First
me?
of all, that's already wrong. She's leaving Uganda to go to Ghana to buy fabric to come build Uganda.
No. Let's speak for you.
Africa.
Build Africa.
She comes to Ghana to experience the culture,
And,
eat Ghana jollof, you know, Right?
For example,
Experience of
we're just looking at a screen. What would that be, honestly speaking? Someone said that, because you say, is that backcloth, Monica?
Yes, it is backcloth.
Yes, and you said that if someone uses backcloth as material, that's the only time they've used Uganda.
Yeah, absolutely, because the trees are here, the backcloth is got off the tree, heat up, dried up, smoothened up a bit, and then you make something. But it's not something you'd wear at your office. It's not comfortable.
Can't you redo
exactly,
it?
Can't you? So this is a very good conversation.
Yes,
because
if our raw material is backcloth.
Thank you. And you see, even in your case, you have the raw materials here. My point is, the conversation is a good one. There's no better time, and it's not a policy, or we are not forcing everybody
to buy Uganda.
I think that it's a plea to get a conversation going, to get our cultures flowing, so that people don't get lost out.
Yeah.
You understand? So personally, look at the option of what's the name of the tree again? What's the name of the fabric?
Backcloth, right?
Backcloth.
Yes.
I'm sure it could be processed into different forms.
Let's be creative around our
back then,
own.
Kente was, you can't just wear kente all the time. It's very hot.
You have to
But now
change
it's been
it up.
processed into different forms. And, if the patterns have been, gotten into different vibes.
It's a great lesson
It's
to learn
been
from
processed,
Ghana,
it's
that they
been
have their
processed.
own, and they're remodeling it to fit
Exactly, that's the
something.
word.
So if you want to build Uganda,
You
pick a
keep
lesson
on-
from them. You were
Yes.
saying, Monica, as we round up.
Yeah, with my different experience in Ghana, they have the woven kente, and then they have the replica of the woven kente, but also like printed in Holland. Like they'll they identify a factory somewhere that can, imitate what they already have. But if you ask for the original bit, they'll be like, this is the original bit. It's woven here, But then ours here, what's woven here? You get what I'm saying?
So we don't have the resources. We don't
Absolutely.
That's a good
and the
conversation.
fashion industry here has been ignored. When someone talks about being a fashion designer, someone's like, "Oh, please,
it's not
please,"
really a conversation people like to have. But on the screen was Jessie Smollett from Empire, and that's your design that he's wearing?
Us.
That's you.
That's me and him.
And you and him.
Wow.
And you actually dressed him. But I'm told you're dressing just more than that, Nagagwa. He's looking at me like, no. Let's just say Kwaku has dressed or is in line to dress some high-profile people. And I think it's matters of national security, so he's not able to discuss them now.
So,
better?
Better. I mean, so this is the thing. So we thank God. I mean, we've been on this journey, and it's still a continuous journey. And it's without say that we are privileged to have some very key head of states and very key influential people.
Although it's hard
across
to dress
Africa.
heads of state, their fashion sense is missing.
Not
So,
all of them.
sorry.
Not all of them. Not all of them. I beg to differ. My president dresses well.
Not all heads
His
of
vice
states
dresses
have
well.
no fashion sense.
Thank you
Come
very
on.
So
Some
it's
heads
good,
of
it's
state
good.
really lack a fashion sense.
Just to say this, and I feel like it's another conversation that needs to be had. It's a definitely great. We're in a great place now as Africans. There's a lot of focus on everything African, from music to food to clothing to arts, etc. And personally, if you had to ask me, I feel like we need to take advantage of that.
Yes.
We need to build more ecosystems, build more incubators, and then get the conversation going. Build more relationship, pretty much.
Definitely.
And that's the only way we can actually move and break that glass ceiling to get the West to actually appreciate us.
Fantastic. As we round up, Monica, any comments on, fine, as Kweku said, it's a conversation, and he's glad we're having this conversation, because it's just that, whatever we can learn from each other to maybe make it buy Africa, build Africa. What are your last comments on that?
Well, I think we need to unite more as Africans, believe in ourselves, believe in what we can achieve, build on that, expand, and make a world a better place. And it all starts now.
And also we need to be original. I think that's a conversation a lot of us
Very
have.
important.
My point is, it makes it worse. First of all, raw material not sourced from here. imported here.
The
And then you go and steal the design online and then come and put your name on it. Personally, it's not the very best for us.
So somebody should be there.
Yeah, as we buy Uganda and build Uganda, let's be authentic in everything. Let's try and have our own raw materials, but don't get to the designs and then get, you know, Givenchy's designs and make them Ugandan. But yes, that's it for Morning at NTV. Encouraging you, of course, to have these conversations, real issues for you, real people. The hashtag is Morning at NTV. If you'd like to continue this conversation beyond, have a good morning.
Okay.